Welcome to Better English Step by Step. This is your place for calm, long-form English learning, where we take the time to really understand how the language feels and how to use it with confidence. Today, we are going to talk about something that many English learners struggle with, even when they have reached a good level of grammar and vocabulary. We are talking about the way we ask for things and the way we interact with people in daily life. Specifically, we are going to look at how to avoid sounding too direct or even rude without meaning to. In many languages, being direct is considered a sign of honesty or efficiency. You want something, so you ask for it clearly. But in English-speaking cultures, particularly in places like the UK, Canada, or the United States, being too direct can often sound like a command. It can make the other person feel a bit uncomfortable or even defensive. Today, we are going to learn what we call the softening technique. This is a way of building a cushion of polite words around your requests. By the end of this hour, you will have practiced these patterns so many times that they will start to feel natural. You will be able to walk into a cafe, a hotel, or a shop and feel like your kind, polite self.
That is so true. I remember when I first started traveling, I would just say things like, "Give me a coffee," or "I want a ticket." I thought I was being clear, but I noticed that people sometimes looked a bit surprised or their tone of voice would become a bit cold. I realized later that I wasn't being rude in my heart, but my English was sounding very blunt. It was like I was giving orders instead of having a conversation. If you have ever felt that way, or if you have ever worried that you might be offending people, this episode is exactly what you need. We are going to take it very slowly. We will give you a bad example, explain why it sounds a bit too strong, and then we will give you a better, softer version. We will repeat these phrases many times so you can shadow them. If you find these long, relaxing study sessions helpful, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. It helps us keep creating these calm lessons for you and ensures you never miss a step in your English journey.
Let's start with the basics. The most common way learners sound too direct is by using the word want or using a simple imperative like give me. Let's look at a simple situation. You are in a cafe and you want a glass of water. A very direct learner might say, "I want a glass of water," or "give me a glass of water." In English, this sounds a bit like a child speaking or a boss giving a command to a servant. To fix this, we use our first softening tool, modal verbs. Specifically, we use could and would. Instead of saying I want, we use could I have. Listen to the difference. I want a glass of water. Could I have a glass of water? The second one is much gentler. It invites the other person to help you rather than demanding it. Let's practice that phrase very slowly. Could I have a glass of water? Now I want you to repeat it after me. Could I have a glass of water? Again, listen to the rhythm. Could I have a glass of water? Let's do it one more time. Could I have a glass of water?
That word could is like a magic key. It immediately changes the energy of the sentence. Another way to use these modal verbs is when you are asking someone else to do something for you. Imagine you are at a hotel and you need the receptionist to call a taxi. You could say, "Call me a taxi." But again, that sounds like a command. It feels heavy. To soften it, we use could you. Could you call me a taxi? Let's try that together. Could you call me a taxi? Listen to the rise in the voice at the end. Could you call me a taxi? Repeat it with me now. Could you call me a taxi? And again, could you call me a taxi? One more time, very slowly. Could you call me a taxi? This is much better than saying, "Call me a taxi." It shows that you respect the other person's time and effort.
Now let's add another layer to our cushion. We can use the word please, but we can also use the phrase would you mind. This is one of the most powerful softening tools in the English language. It is incredibly polite, and it almost guarantees a positive response. However, there is a small grammar rule we must remember. After would you mind, we always use the verb with an ing ending. So if we want someone to open a window, we don't say, "Would you mind open the window?" We say, "Would you mind opening the window?" Let's practice that carefully. Would you mind opening the window? Repeat it after me. Would you mind opening the window? Let's do it again, focusing on the ing sound. Would you mind opening the window? Once more. Would you mind opening the window?
It is interesting because if you say, "Would you mind opening the window?" you are actually asking if it is a problem for them. If they say no, it actually means they are happy to do it. It means, "No, I don't mind." Let's try another example with this pattern. Imagine you are on a train and someone is playing loud music. You want them to turn it down. A direct person might say, "Turn down your music." That might start a fight. A softer version would be, "Would you mind turning down your music?" Let's practice that. Would you mind turning down your music? Again, please. Would you mind turning down your music? One more time. Would you mind turning down your music? This is a great habit to build. Every time you need to ask someone to change their behavior, start with, "Would you mind?" and add the ing. It turns a potential conflict into a polite request.
Now we are going to move on to our second major tool, introductory phrases. These are little sentences we put at the very beginning of our request to prepare the listener. Think of it like a polite knock on a door before you enter a room. One of the best introductory phrases is, "I was wondering if." This is very common in professional and social settings. It makes the request feel very low pressure. For example, if you want to ask your boss for a meeting, you could say, "I want a meeting." But that is too strong. Instead, try, "I was wondering if I could have a meeting with you." Listen to how long and soft that sentence is. "I was wondering if I could have a meeting with you." Let's break that down and repeat it. "I was wondering if." Now you try. "I was wondering if." Again, "I was wondering if." Now the whole thing. "I was wondering if I could have a meeting with you." Repeat it after me. "I was wondering if I could have a meeting with you." And again, "I was wondering if I could have a meeting with you." That phrase, "I was wondering if," really changes the tone, because it sounds like you have been thinking about it and you are politely asking for their opinion. It is not a demand. Another great introductory phrase is, "I'm sorry to bother you, but." This is perfect for when you need to interrupt someone or ask a stranger for help. For example, if you are lost and you want to ask for directions, don't just say, "Where is the station?" Instead, start with the cushion. "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you tell me where the station is?" This is much more natural. Let's practice that introductory cushion. "I'm sorry to bother you, but." Your turn. "I'm sorry to bother you, but." Again, "I'm sorry to bother you, but." Now the full sentence. "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you tell me where the station is?" Repeat it with me. "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you tell me where the station is?" One more time, nice and slow. "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you tell me where the station is?" You are doing a great job. I hope you can feel the difference in your own voice as you say these longer sentences. They have a more melodic, gentle flow. Let's look at another introductory phrase that is very useful when you are asking for a favor. "If you have a moment." This acknowledges that the other person might be busy. For instance, if you want a colleague to look at a document, you could say, "If you have a moment, could you look at this document?" Let's practice that. "If you have a moment." Your turn. "If you have a moment." Again, "If you have a moment." Now the whole request. "If you have a moment, could you look at this document?" Repeat it after me. "If you have a moment, could you look at this document?" Once more. "If you have a moment, could you look at this document?" This is a wonderful habit to get into. It shows that you value the other person's time.
Our third tool for softening English is the use of specific adverbs. These are small words that act like fluff in a pillow. They take the hardness out of a sentence. The most important one for learners is the word just. We use just to make a request seem smaller and less important, which actually makes it more polite. Instead of saying, "I have a question," you say, "I just have a quick question." Listen to how much lighter that feels. "I just have a quick question." Let's practice that. "I just have a quick question." Your turn. "I just have a quick question." Again, "I just have a quick question." One more time. "I just have a quick question." It sounds so much less demanding.
Another fantastic adverb is possibly. This adds a layer of doubt, which in English is a sign of politeness. It suggests that you know the person might say no, and that is okay. We often use it with could. For example, instead of saying, "Could you help me?" you can say, "Could you possibly help me?" This is very common when you are asking for something that might be a bit difficult for the other person. Let's practice that. "Could you possibly help me?" Repeat it after me. "Could you possibly help me?" Again, "Could you possibly help me?" One more time. "Could you possibly help me?" You can also use possibly when you are asking for something for yourself. "Could I possibly take this chair?" Let's try that. "Could I possibly take this chair?" Your turn. "Could I possibly take this chair?" And again, Could I possibly take this chair?
We should also talk about the word actually. This is a very interesting word because it can be used to soften a correction or a disagreement. In many cultures, if someone says something wrong, you might just say, "No, that is wrong." But in English, that is very blunt. Instead, we use actually. For example, if someone says the meeting is at 5 and you know it is at 4, you could say, "Actually, I think the meeting is at 4." The word actually warns the listener that you are about to disagree, which makes it feel less like a confrontation. Let's practice that. Actually, I think it's at 4. Repeat it after me. Actually, I think it's at 4. Again. Actually, I think it's at 4. One more time. Actually, I think it's at 4. See how that word actually acts as a little bridge between the two people? It makes the disagreement feel like a shared exploration of the truth rather than a fight.
That is a great point. Now we are going to look at our fourth tool, which is not about words, but about how you say them. This is intonation and stress. In English, we use a rising intonation at the end of a question to show that we are being polite and open. If your voice stays flat or goes down at the end, it can sound like you are giving an order, even if you are using polite words. For example, if I say, "Could you help me?" with a flat voice, it sounds a bit annoyed. But if I say, "Could you help me?" with a rise at the end, it sounds friendly. Let's practice that rising tone. Listen to me first. "Could you help me?" Now you try. "Could you help me?" Again. "Could you help me?" One more time. "Could you help me?" Try to feel your voice going up like a little bird taking flight at the very end of the sentence.
We also need to be careful with where we put the stress in the sentence. If you stress the words too heavily, you can sound angry. For example, if you say, "Give it to me," you sound very aggressive. But if you use the softening techniques we learned and keep your stress light, it changes everything. Let's try to combine everything we have learned so far. We will use an introductory phrase, a modal verb, an adverb, and a rising intonation. Imagine you are at a restaurant and the bill is incorrect. You don't want to say, "This is wrong." That is too direct. Let's try this instead. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I think there might actually be a small mistake on the bill." That is a long sentence, but it is very soft. Let's break it down. "I'm sorry to bother you." Repeat. "I'm sorry to bother you. But I think." Repeat. "But I think there might actually be." Repeat. "There might actually be a small mistake on the bill." Repeat. "A small mistake on the bill." Now let's try the whole thing together. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I think there might actually be a small mistake on the bill." Repeat it after me. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I think there might actually be a small mistake on the bill." Once more. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I think there might actually be a small mistake on the bill."
Excellent. You can hear how that sentence is built like a stack of pillows. It is very hard for anyone to be angry with you when you speak like that. Now we are going to enter our long-form shadowing lab. This is where we take real-world scenarios and practice these patterns over and over again. We want these phrases to live in your ears and your mouth, not just in your notebook. We will go through several different settings: a cafe, a hotel, a workplace, and a street. For each scenario, we will show you the direct way to say it, and then we will practice the softened way multiple times.
Scenario 1 is the cafe. Imagine you want to order a latte and you want it with oat milk. The direct way, which we want to avoid, is "I want a latte with oat milk." Now let's use our softening tools. "Could I have a latte with oat milk, please?" We will repeat this 5 times. Listen and repeat. "Could I have a latte with oat milk, please?" 1. "Could I have a latte with oat milk, please?" 2. "Could I have a latte with oat milk, please?" 3. "Could I have a latte with oat milk, please?" 4. "Could I have a latte with oat milk, please?" 5. Now let's make it even softer. "I was wondering if I could have a latte with oat milk, please." Let's repeat this 3 times. "I was wondering if I could have a latte with oat milk, please." 1. "I was wondering if I could have a latte with oat milk, please." 2. "I was wondering if I could have a latte with oat milk, please."
Good. Now imagine you are in the same cafe and you need the Wi-Fi password. Don't say, "Give me the Wi-Fi password." Instead, let's use an introductory phrase. "I'm sorry, could you tell me the Wi-Fi password?" Let's repeat this 5 times. "I'm sorry, could you tell me the Wi-Fi password?" 1. "I'm sorry, could you tell me the Wi-Fi password?" 2. "I'm sorry, could you tell me the Wi-Fi password?" 3. "I'm sorry, could you tell me the Wi-Fi password?" 4. "I'm sorry, could you tell me the Wi-Fi password?" 5. Now let's add the word "just" to make it even lighter. "I was just wondering if you have the Wi-Fi password." Listen to that. "I was just wondering if you have the Wi-Fi password." Let's repeat that 3 times. I was just wondering if you have the Wi-Fi password. 1. I was just wondering if you have the Wi-Fi password. 2. I was just wondering if you have the Wi-Fi password. 3.
Scenario 2 is the hotel. Imagine you are at the front desk and you want to check out, but you need to leave your bags there for a few hours. A direct way would be, I want to leave my bags here. Instead, let's use would you mind. Remember the ing rule. Would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? Let's repeat this 5 times. Would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 1. Would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 2. Would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 3. Would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 4. Would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 5. Now, let's add if you have a moment to the beginning. If you have a moment, would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? Let's try this twice. If you have a moment, would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 1. If you have a moment, would you mind holding my bags for a few hours? 2.
Now imagine there is no hot water in your room. This is a problem, but you don't want to be an angry guest. Don't say, there is no hot water, fix it. Instead, let's use actually and there seems to be. This sounds much more polite. I'm sorry, but there actually seems to be a problem with the hot water in my room. Let's break that down. There actually seems to be. Repeat. There actually seems to be. A problem with the hot water. Repeat. A problem with the hot water. In my room. Repeat. In my room. Now the whole thing. I'm sorry, but there actually seems to be a problem with the hot water in my room. Let's repeat this 3 times. I'm sorry, but there actually seems to be a problem with the hot water in my room. 1. I'm sorry, but there actually seems to be a problem with the hot water in my room. 2. I'm sorry, but there actually seems to be a problem with the hot water in my room.
Scenario 3 is the workplace. Imagine you need a colleague to help you with a report. Don't say, help me with this report. Instead, use could you possibly. Could you possibly help me with this report? Let's repeat this 5 times. Could you possibly help me with this report? 1. Could you possibly help me with this report? 2. Could you possibly help me with this report? 3. Could you possibly help me with this report? 4. Could you possibly help me with this report? 5. Now, let's add, I was wondering if I could bother you. This is very common in offices. I was wondering if I could bother you for a second to help me with this report. Let's try that twice. I was wondering if I could bother you for a second to help me with this report. 1. I was wondering if I could bother you for a second to help me with this report. 2.
What if you disagree with an idea in a meeting? Don't say, I don't like that idea. That can hurt people's feelings. Instead, try this phrase. I'm not sure if that would work. The phrase, I'm not sure, is a classic English softening tool. Let's practice it. I'm not sure if that would work. Repeat after me. I'm not sure if that would work. 1. I'm not sure if that would work. 2. I'm not sure if that would work. 3. Now let's make it even softer by adding actually. Actually, I'm not sure if that would work. Let's repeat that. Actually, I'm not sure if that would work. 1. Actually, I'm not sure if that would work. 2. Actually, I'm not sure if that would work. You are being clear about your opinion, but you are not being aggressive.
Scenario 4 is on the street. Imagine you want to ask a stranger to take a photo of you. Don't just hold out your camera and say, take a photo. Instead, start with a big cushion. I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind taking a photo of us? Let's repeat this 5 times. I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind taking a photo of us? 1. I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind taking a photo of us? 2. I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind taking a photo of us? 3. I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind taking a photo of us? 4. I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind taking a photo of us? 5. If they say yes, you can then say, could you possibly take one more? Let's practice that. Could you possibly take one more? 1. Could you possibly take one more? 2. Could you possibly take one more? 3.
You are doing incredible work. By repeating these phrases, you are training your brain to choose the longer, softer path instead of the short, blunt path. Let's look at a few more examples of common situations where directness can be a problem. One is when you don't understand someone. In many languages, you might just say, what, or I don't understand. But in English, just saying what can sound a bit rude. It sounds like you are annoyed. Instead, we use softening phrases to ask for clarification. Try, I'm sorry, could you say that again? Let's repeat that 5 times. I'm sorry, could you say that again? 1. I'm sorry, could you say that again? 2. I'm sorry, could you say that again? 3. I'm sorry, could you say that again? 4. I'm sorry, could you say that again? 5.
And if they are speaking too fast, don't say speak slowly. Instead, try, would you mind speaking a little bit slower? Let's practice that with our ing rule. Would you mind speaking a little bit slower? Repeat after me. Would you mind speaking a little bit slower? 1. Would you mind speaking a little bit slower? 2. Would you mind speaking a little bit slower? 3. Would you mind speaking a little bit slower? 4. Would you mind speaking a little bit slower? 5. Notice how we added a little bit. This is another softening adverb. It makes the request feel smaller, a little bit slower. It sounds much nicer than just slower.
Let's talk about another very common situation, asking for a seat. Imagine you are on a crowded bus and you see a bag on a seat. You want to sit there. Don't say, move your bag. Instead, try this. I'm sorry, is anyone sitting here? This is a very indirect way of asking them to move their bag. If they say no, you can follow up with, would you mind if I sat here? Let's practice that. Would you mind if I sat here? Repeat after me. Would you mind if I sat here? 1. Would you mind if I sat here? 2. Would you mind if I sat here? 3. Would you mind if I sat here? 4. Would you mind if I sat here? 5. This is so much better than demanding the seat. It shows that you are a polite and considerate traveler.
We have covered so much ground today. We have learned about modal verbs like could and would. We have learned introductory phrases like I was wondering if and I'm sorry to bother you. We have looked at adverbs like just and possibly and actually. And we have practiced our rising intonation. These are the tools that will make you sound like a natural, advanced English speaker. It's not just about the words you know, it's about how you use them to connect with people. If you found these repetitions helpful, please do remember to like this video and share it with a friend who is also learning English. Your support helps us keep this channel going and allows us to spend this much time on every single lesson.
Now for the last part of our session, we are going to do a fast-paced review. I will give you a direct, blunt sentence, and I want you to try to soften it in your head before I give you the answer. Then we will repeat the soft version together. This is a great way to see how much you have learned today. Are you ready? Let's go. Sentence 1. Give me the salt. Think about it. Okay, the soft version is, could you pass me the salt, please? Let's repeat it. Could you pass me the salt, please? Again. Could you pass me the salt, please? One more time. Could you pass me the salt, please?
Sentence 2. I want a refund. Think about it. The soft version is, I was wondering if it would be possible to get a refund. Let's repeat that. I was wondering if it would be possible to get a refund. Again. I was wondering if it would be possible to get a refund. One more time. I was wondering if it would be possible to get a refund. Notice how we used it would be possible. This is another level of softening. It removes you from the sentence entirely. Sentence 3. Move your car. Think about it. The soft version is, would you mind moving your car a little bit? Let's repeat it. Would you mind moving your car a little bit? Again. Would you mind moving your car a little bit? One more time. Would you mind moving your car a little bit? That little bit at the end makes it feel like a very small favor.
Sentence 4. I have a problem with this. Think about it. The soft version is, actually, I have a bit of a concern about this. Let's repeat that. Actually, I have a bit of a concern about this. Again. Actually, I have a bit of a concern about this. One more time. Actually, I have a bit of a concern about this. Using the word concern instead of problem is a very professional way to soften your language.
Sentence 5. Tell me your name. Think about it. The soft version is, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, or could I have your name, please? Let's try, could I have your name, please? Repeat after me. Could I have your name, please? Again, could I have your name, please? One more time. Could I have your name, please?
Sentence 6. I'm lost. Help me. Think about it. The soft version is, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost. Could you possibly help me? Let's try that. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost. Could you possibly help me? Again. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost. Could you possibly help me? One more time. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost. Could you possibly help me? You are doing such a good job. These sentences are getting longer and more complex, and you are handling them beautifully.
We are coming to the end of our time together today. But before we go, I want to give you a small challenge. Over the next 24 hours, I want you to look for opportunities to use these softening techniques. Even if you are speaking in your native language, try to think about how you would say it in softened English. If you have to ask a friend for a favor or order a coffee, mentally practice the cushion phrases we learned today. This mental practice is just as important as speaking out loud. It builds the habit of thinking before you speak, which is the mark of a truly advanced communicator.
If you enjoyed this slow, deep dive format, please let us know in the comments. We love hearing about your progress and what specific topics you want us to cover next. Your feedback helps us shape the future of this channel. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe and click that notification bell. It's the best way to support us and ensure that you can continue building your English step by step. We want to help you feel confident, relaxed, and natural whenever you use this beautiful language.
Remember, language learning is not a race. It is a journey of small, consistent steps. By spending this hour with us today, you have already made a huge leap forward. You aren't just learning words. You are learning how to be more socially aware and how to build better relationships through English. That is something to be very proud of. Take these phrases with you into the world. Use them with a smile and a gentle rising tone at the end of your questions. You will be amazed at how much more friendly and helpful people become when you use the softening technique.
Thank you for trusting us with your time and your learning. It is a privilege to walk this path with you. We will be back soon with another clear goal and another step-by-step lesson. Until then, stay calm, keep practicing, and enjoy the process of becoming a better English speaker. You are doing great, and we are right here with you every step of the way.
Have a wonderful day or a peaceful night, wherever you are in the world. Let these polite patterns sink into your mind as you go about your business or as you drift off to sleep. You are becoming a more confident, more polite, and more natural English speaker, one phrase at a time. Goodbye for now, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Better English Step by Step. Keep moving forward, keep repeating, and keep believing in yourself. You have the power to master these patterns, and you are already doing it. Goodbye, and well done today.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care of yourselves and keep practicing those polite cushions. You've got this. We'll see you next time. Over the next hour, if you want to listen again, just hit replay and let these sounds wash over you once more. The more you hear them, the more they will become yours. Good luck with your practice, and we will see you very soon. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others with your new soft English. Bye-bye.